Yeah, I'm told that our honored friend stood in for me. Was it last week? No, this week on Tuesday. I was away, so he stood in for me, and you discussed something on assurance. Yes, you discussed something on assurance. So we still get there. Actually, he has told me, he mentioned that I will repeat it. Yes, so I will repeat it. I will repeat it. So that will be an added advantage because you'll have heard from him, then you hear from me. Yes, you never know, it may be God's plan that we read it twice because it's question number which one in our exam? Will question number 2B? Somewhere there. Yes, so don't you be worried that again we are doing something different from what you covered on Tuesday. This is topic number 1 as per our syllabus. So assurance engagements will come later after we've understood what is auditing, why auditing, who does it, and why it is done. So we are carrying out the introduction bit of it. I'm Clement. We'll be meeting on Tuesdays and Saturdays, 6 p.m. Now, in lower levels, financial accounting, you did preparation of financial statements. And International Accounting Standard number 1 indicates that we have 5 sets of financial statements, which includes income statement, statements. We talk of a statement of financial position. We talk of cash flow statements. We talk of statement of changes in equity. And we talk of notes to the financial statements. These are the 5 sets of accounts that we prepare. And they are used by a vast list of intended users. We have a vast list of intended users who place reliance on these financial statements, including the shareholders, the investors, the creditors, the lenders, the government, the consultants, the general public, and such other persons. But there are some problems that arise when you're placing reliance on these financial statements, that they could be misleading. These financial statements could be misleading, either inadvertently or deliberately. They could be misleading innocently or deliberately. They could be misleading. They could be having lots of errors, could be having lots of frauds, lots of misstatements. Yes, I'll be quoting lots of ISAs. ISA number 240, this is International Standards of Audit 240, talks of errors and frauds. I'll be referring to these two combined as misstatements. So we are saying that these financial statements could be materially misstated. They could be having lots of errors and frauds committed inadvertently or deliberately. Now, from your IT or MIS, you always talk of garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, you expect garbage out. So we can never purport to have made sound decisions, sound judgments, if the financial statements themselves are not sound. So this is what necessitates that we subject our books of accounts to audit. To be examined by an independent accountant. Then this accountant reports to the owners of the entity whether these financial statements portrays a true and fair view. We'll be defining what true and fair view means, because Companies Act Cap 486, even Companies Act of 2015 is very silent on what true and fair view means. This takes us to the agency theory and stewardship concept. I will illustrate this with the need of a diagram that we could be having owners of an entity. Owners of an entity who includes the shareholders, includes the partners, includes the sole trader. This could be the owners of different entities. Then we have directors. We have the audit. We have the accountants. We have the management. We even have the internal auditors. Then we have the financial information. Then the external auditors are here. External auditors. Now what happens? There exists an agency relationship. Between the principals and the agents, because what the management do, they act on behalf of the owners. They manage the business on behalf of the owners. These agents prepares the financial information. The financial information that I've just highlighted. They prepare the financial information. Then the external auditor examines this financial information and reports to the owners. This simple diagram illustrates a lot of aspects. Later, we'll be discussing an auditing concept known as expectations gap. Expectations gap. How do we define expectations gap? This relates to misconceptions about what auditing is and what for real it is, because people out there think that external auditors report to the management, think that external auditors report to the directors. But from this diagram, we can see that external auditors report to the shareholders, report to the owners, report to the partners in case of partnerships, report to sole traders in case of sole proprietorship. That's one of the misconceptions. People out there generally think that auditors report to the owners of the business, which is a very big misconception. They report to the owners, they report to the principals, and that's why we say external auditors act as watchdogs on behalf of the shareholders' resources, on behalf of the partners' resources, on behalf of sole traders' resources. So the owners of the business engaging agents to act on their behalf, preparing the financial statements, subjecting these financial statements to independent examination by qualified competent accountants, then these qualified competent accountants reports to the owners of the business. Because I've highlighted this, I need to mention those other two misconceptions. One, we've indicated about to whom the external auditor reports to. Number two, people out there think that auditors are there to look for errors and frauds. Actually, people think that the auditor is a witch hunt, carries out the witch hunt exercise. And that's why you find that every other time the auditor is visiting client premises, account staff, accounts clerk are always tensed that the guy is coming to look for frauds, to look for errors. That's a misconception. Theirs is not to look for errors and frauds. It's just to examine the records and give their personal and professional opinion about the financial statements, guided by the phrases true and fair view. Theirs is not about looking for errors and frauds. Number three, the last one. We'll be discussing two types of opinions or two types of auditor's report guided by ISA number 700. We have unqualified report, and qualified report. Those who have come across this auditor's report, and qualified report is a good report, qualified is a bad report. But people out there think otherwise. People out there give these two terms their literal meanings. They think that an unqualified report is a bad report. Qualified report is a good report. But now we know that the opposite is true. These 3 points discusses the expectations gap, the misconceptions about what auditing is and what people out there think that auditing is. Now, where do stewardship aspect come in? Of course, agency is very clear here. Stewardship, who is a steward? A person who has been entrusted to manage resources on behalf of the other. Yes, so it's like they clash. The agency theory and the stewardship concept clash, because stewardship concept believes in separating ownership and control. Ownership of resources and control of resources. Some persons have been entrusted to act as stewards on behalf of the owners. So stewardship aspect comes in when you're able to separate ownership with control. To get more insights on what auditing is all about, maybe I can highlight about objectives of an audit. Objectives of an, why audit? Why audit? Or maybe to go back a little further, and now I can use some phrases to define what auditing is. Though I had already highlighted, I've indicated that auditing is an independent examination. Independent examination of books of accounts, records, and vouchers by an independent qualified accountant, This is auditing. If it's not an independent activity, an independent exercise, then that's not auditing. Auditing has to be an independent exercise. So auditing is an independent examination of books of accounts, records, and vouchers by an independent qualified accountant. Of course, reporting to the owners as to whether the financial statements portrays a true and fair view. I've just indicated need for auditing, that we audit because the financial statements could be misleading. Financial statements are likely to be materially misstated. So we need an independent examiner to come in and enhance the credibility of the financial statements. That they are telling us, or he is telling us, or she is telling us, that these financial statements are credible. As an intended user, you can go ahead and place reliance on them to make your financing decisions, to make your investing decisions, to make your credit rating decisions, or even your due diligence decisions. The financial statements are credible. And since they are independent, now we can rely on their conclusions. They are coming in to enhance the confidence, of the users. And that's why you hear banks and other lending institutions, they will ask for audited accounts. Even when you're making filing of tax returns, if you're basing on audited accounts, that will be considered to be accurate or credible for that matter. So we are enhancing the confidence of the intended users. Another thing that audit does, it reduces information risk. Because we've indicated that it's very risky to rely on garbage, because you'll get an outcome which is garbage as well. But when they've been examined by an independent qualified accountant, they're able to reduce information risk, though no one can be able to guarantee us 100%. But at least having been examined by an independent qualified accountant, we can consider such information less riskier than when we are relying on raw information, which has not been evaluated or examined by an independent accountant. I'm mentioning so very much about a qualified accountant When do we become qualified accountants? We become qualified accountants when we meet the specifications captured in Section 21 of the Accountants Act. Section 21 of the Accountants Act. That number one, we are CPA-K finalists. We are CPA-K finalists. Tumemaliza CPA. Tumemaliza CPA. Si tunaipata this year. Say tuko intermediate. August finalists, alafu December tunafanya data. Kwa hivyo tunaweza vitu zingine unasema amen. Yes, ni sawa sawa. Kwa imani, yes, kwa imani kwamba December unafanya data BDA, Business Data Analytics. It's very much doable. It's very much possible. So utakuwa CPA-K finalist. These are the qualification that you are registered with the recognized accounting examination body, CASNEB. That you are registered with the recognized accounting professional body, ISPAC. That you have at least 3 years post-graduate experience. This is when you become a qualified accountant. See, at least we have this one. Yes, and these other ones are not too far. You are registered with CASNEB. You'll be registered with ISPAC as an associate member. You know this, eh? Ukishakuwa CPA-K, you can register with ISPAC as an associate member. They will allow you to be an associate member for 2 years. So after the second year, now you register as a full member. After the third year, if you can confirm or verify that you've been working in an auditing environment for the last 3 years, now you can start the process of registering as a practicing member. Associate member, full member, practicing member when you become a qualified accountant. So auditing performed by an independent qualified accountant. This qualified accountant possesses these qualifications. Why do we carry out audit exercise? We have three classifications of audit objectives. Number one, statutory objectives. Number two, incidental objectives. And number three, professional bodies objectives. Our objectives are the targets, the aims, what we want to achieve. It's classified into three: statutory, incidental, and professional bodies objectives. If you allow me, I can love here. Online family who wanaona waki screenshot what I've written on the whiteboard. Wanaona waki screenshot. So online family, we are screenshotting. Although nimechanganya vitu mingi sana, but we have those learned friends who understand it from this perspective. So if you understand from this perspective, you can screenshot then. Ni sawa naweza piga picha. Alafu kuna wale waheshimiwa wanaelewa kwa class, hapo ndio anaelewa. Mwingine akijisomea ndio anaelewa. So you can screenshot that and then we proceed. All right, that's done well. Although I'll avail all these notes. Hizi notes zote utakuwa nazo, zingine nitadictate hapa. Being the first class, I'm likely to dictate something small. Tujikumbushe about good handwriting after the holiday. After the holiday, unaweza kuta handwriting ilipotea. Those working, najua ulienda Januari kwa ofisi unashindwa vitu zilikuwa wapi, utaanzia wapi. So we'll write something small. Now, about the objectives, I've indicated number one, that we have statutory objectives. Now, statutory objectives, what do we mean by statute? A statute is a piece of registration. In Sharia, what does a statute say? Companies Act is a statute, Cooperative Act, Insurance Act, all those are statutes, piece of registration. They indicate that number one, we are supposed to audit so that we write a report. Auditor's report inakuwa kwa ISA number 700. Write a report with the auditor's opinion. Auditor's opinion about the financial statements. Ni hivyo sheria inasema kwamba we are auditing so that we generate an auditor's report which contains the auditor's opinion about the financial statements. Sheria inatuhitaji. So this should be the ultimate product. The ultimate product of any audit exercise is an auditor's report. Number two, we are supposed to capture expressly record the contents of the seventh schedule to the Companies Act, which includes Roman number 1. As an auditor, you are supposed to indicate that you received all the information and explanation deemed necessary for the purpose of audit. Received all the informations and explanations. You know what we do before you commence audit, guided by ISA number 310, you perform client screening. Una screen the client. Why do we screen the client prior to auditing them? So that we can have intimate knowledge about the operations. We want to know who you're auditing. Ni kama saizi ulizwa about my integrity levels. Na ndio tu tumekutana mara ya kwanza. Ama kuna mtu nishaifunza mahali pengine? Sidhani, sijaona familia face. Kuna mtu? Sijaona. Yes. Naweza kuwa nimesahau. This is my 23rd year in lecturing. The same thing. Yes. And in Nairobi it is since 2013, this is which year? 12th or something. So tunaweza kuwa tumekutana mahali alafu nikasahau. So when you perform background research, you understand the client, you are able to set what you are expecting from the client. So you can easily tell whether you received all that you expected. That's what you're saying. Then number 2, as an auditor, you're supposed to report or indicate whether you received sufficient returns from the branches you never visited. Baadaye tutasoma topic inaitwa ISA 530. ISA 530 inaitwa audit sampling. That as auditors, because of time constraints, because of cost constraints, we are not able to test everything. Hata kwa client, akona transactions 1 million. Maybe you select 1,000, you test them and make conclusions. Client anaweza kuwa na components which are geographically dispersed. You select a few. Hiyo huwa tunaita cluster sampling. Cluster sampling ni ile out of 47 counties, you can select 20, test them and make a conclusion. So hizi 27 zenye huja visit wanafaa kutumia returns. So wewe kama auditor, you are indicating whether you received sufficient returns from the branches you never visited, because you sampled just a few, tested them, and made some conclusions. Again, number 3, yes, Roman number 3, you are indicating whether the financial statements have been prepared as per the Companies Act, as by the Companies Act provisions, in the manner so required. Tumeunda vitabu kulingana na Companies Act vile imesema. Roman number 4, indicating that the financial statements. The financial statements are as per the books of accounts. As per the books of accounts. From your financial accounting, you know how we do the books of accounts. We start from source documents. Source documents. We do books of original entry. Books of original entry. After that, after books of original entry, we do general ledgers. We do the general ledgers. After this, we do the TB. After this, we do the final books. Final books. So hii statement inasema kwamba these financial statements have been prepared, guided by all these source documents and so on. Because if this is not observed, then we refer to that as doctoring the books of accounts. Kwa lugha ya accounting, ya auditing, tutaita window dressing. Window dressing. Window dressing relates to misreporting. Misreporting. Or fraudulent reporting. Fraudulent reporting. So where we come auditor, you're reporting that the books of accounts have been prepared on the basis of source documents. That's what we mean by indicating that the financial statements are as per the books of accounts. Then number 5, guided by ISA number 320. Guided by ISA number 320. I'm mentioning ISAs because there's some way I want to explain them. But at this level, you're not supposed to get them. You're not supposed to cram them. Nazitaja tu ndio ikifika mahali ni kuambia what are ISAs, what are the advantages and disadvantages. At least I'll have made some reference here and there. So guided by ISA 320, we are supposed to indicate whether the financial statements have been presented fairly in all material respects. Wewe kama accountant, IAS number 1 requires, IAS number 1 ndio inakuwa na accounting concepts. Can you recall any of the accounting concepts? Examples of accounting concepts kwa FA? Materiality, perfect. Accrual concept, going concern. Umeziona? Matching concept. That's why I'm calling you my learned friends. Those are the accounting concepts. Materiality ikuwa mle ndani. So IAS number 1 requires accountants to capture that which is material in the financial statements. We don't record immaterial items. You buy some sugar, una record kwa petty cash. Then you combine all those expenses in the cash book. But tuseme sukari imemwagika, where do you record that one? It's so immaterial. It's so insignificant. You don't record that. Alafu sisi kama auditors, ISA 320 is on materiality concepts. It requires us to report whether materiality concepts have been observed while preparing the financial statement. So we are supposed to indicate whether the financial statements have been presented fairly in all material respects. And number 6, and the last one, indicating whether the financial statements portrays a true and fair view. Siongei haraka sana. Nisiongee mbio sana ukose kushika some point, but I have a retake now. Ndio ushike vizuri. These points are very important. Kuna past papers iko question number 1. A. The very first question A, you're supposed to give these 5 points, 10 marks. Now, the rule requires that we audit so that we generate an auditor's report, which captures our opinion about the financial statements. Then we are expected to express the meaning we write down one by one. The contents of the 7th schedule, although baadaye nitaziita other legal matters. We are supposed to indicate whether we received all the informations and explanations deemed necessary for the purpose of audit. Did you receive all that you expected as an auditor? You're supposed to indicate whether you received sufficient returns from the branches you never visited. Nikakueleza, it's very much in order as an external auditor not to visit all the branches, not to examine all the records because of several aspects or limitations, time constraints. There are some clients, if you have to audit everything, it will take forever. Cost constraints. Other times, cost will be highly exorbitant if you tested everything. Psychological effect. If you test the same thing the whole day, utachoka. Sijui kama ushaiajiriwa mahali ukuwa accountant mgeni, alafu unapewa list ya expenses to post. Ikifika masaa 5 ushaanza kusikia usingizi, umechoka because you're doing the same thing. It becomes boring. It has got psychological effect. Plus other things we'll be discussing later that users of these records are not interested with truthiness of the financial statements. They are only interested with fairness of the financial statements. That's why we don't test everything. Maybe you captured that somewhere in the assurance topic. Number 3, indicating whether the financial statements have been prepared as per the Companies Act provisions in the manner so required. Is there total adherence to the Companies Act provisions? Indicating that the financial statements are as per the books of accounts, I've explained. Lazima ikuwe kwamba what you have recorded in the financial statements is what is happening on the ground. Number 5, indicating whether the financial statements have been presented fairly in all material respects. Materiality is very important in accounting as well as auditing. Plus number 6, indicating whether the financial statements portrays a true and fair view. A true and very important points. Muhimu sana hizo points. Muhimu sana. The good thing, tutazirudia tena mara zingine mbili in some other topics ahead of us. In some other topics ahead of us. Na tukifika pale nitakuwa nauliza swali before I explain. Tunakumbushana to get them right. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Perfect. Then we have the incidental objectives. The incidental objectives. What we say, incidental objectives are not compulsory. Are not compulsory, but desirable. Ni nzuri kuyatimiza, but we are not required by law. They are not compulsory, but they are desirable. They are desirable. Which are they? Number 1, guided by ISA number 240 to prevent, detect, and correct errors and frauds. Hii sio kazi yetu kama auditors. This is entrusted to the management, but it's desirable that you should endeavor to plan your audit in a way that you are able to detect material misstatements, prevent them, and even correct them. That's number 1. Number 2, guided by ISA number 260. Number 260, we discuss management letter. Management letter. Na ndio uwe unaikumbuka vizuri, let me call it letter of internal weaknesses. Letter of internal weakness. For instance, if you're engaged here as an auditor, nika weakness gani unaweza advise KCU warekebishe? Hakuna mtu hana weakness. Kwa interview ushaulizwa your weakness. What do you say? In an interview, hiyo swali hawapendi kuacha. Juu wanajua inasumbuaga mtu. Of course, if you ask about your strength, you list several. But weakness, saa zingine unaweza itaja hata ifanye unyimwe job. Si ni kweli? You have to be very keen ukitaja weakness. What would you say if you asked about your weakness in an interview? Na huwezi sema hauna, si ni kweli? Kuna mtu ameuliza hiyo swali in the most recent. Generally huwa tunasema wewe taja weakness yenye inakaa strength. Si ndivyo tu huwa tunasema? Taja weakness inakaa strength. Alafu before they pin you down because of this weakness, indicate how it's a strength on the other in another way. For instance, unaweza ukasema aje? Unaweza ukasema perfectionist. Uko perfectionist. Ni weakness in a way. Perfectionist ka weakness kanaingia aje hapo? consume a lot of time to ensure you do it into details. Yes, perfectionist. Yes, but before they pin you down on this weakness, what do you say? When you do it perfectly, yeah, when you do it perfectly, you minimize on errors. You know, errors are unintentional. So you minimize on errors because you concentrate so much on it. So haitakuwa na kazi ingine mingi sana ya kurekebisha the errors that you may have committed. Kitu kama hiyo. Ama unataja weakness ingine huwa inaitwa kama nini? Ile ya focus, kwamba when you commence a task, you can't afford distractions. You pursue it until it's done. It's a weakness. But when need be, I'm flexible enough to accommodate anything that may arise. Unaona, before the opinion down ushasema kwamba wewe ni jamaa ukishika job until it's done, you don't deviate. But when need be, because of the dynamics in the office, accounts, job and such, you are flexible enough. So ni hivi, ka weakness alafu una correct. All right, that's just obiter dicta. What was obiter dicta in law? By the way of, sinikweli, that's just by the way of. Now, these are letter of internal weakness that you may come across some weaknesses. Mwenye umelishalipa fees, ulipewa receipt handwritten ama computer generated? I think it's handwritten, si sasa hiyo mnaweza waambia kwa letter of internal weaknesses. Number one that I've detected, because now I'm an auditor. The receipts you're issuing are handwritten. What is the risk associated with handwritten receipts? They can easily be altered. Give them an advice, as an expert advice. Computerize the accounting system and generate give computer generated receipts. Hiyo ndio inaitwa management letter. It is a letter of internal weaknesses. Inakuwa na 3 components. Number 1, weakness. Number 2, risk associated with the weakness. Then you give some recommendations. So that's an incidental objective, to offer expertise advice. Expertise advice. All right. Number 3. Yeah, reporting on inconsistencies. Inconsistencies in the director's report. Hii nayo ni story unafaa nielezee vizuri uishike. That holding all the factors constant, auditors do not have any responsibility on director's report. Auditors do not have any responsibilities on director's report, neither on chairman's statement. But if they are able to detect any inconsistencies, that's when their responsibility comes in. So holding all the factors constant, auditors do not have any responsibility on the director's report. Inconsistencies will arise in what way? Directors wanaweza wakariport kwa mikutano, tunaonaga kwa news, wanasema kwamba last year our earning per share increased from this to that. We were able to cut down operational cost by 12%. Then we'll go auditor onana hii ni story ya jaba hii. Because yes, because in the actual sense inaweza kuwa kwamba hata expenses inaweza kuwa zilipad. EPS it stabilize and such. So if you're able to detect such inconsistencies, you have a responsibility to report this to the shareholders. Lakini kama hakuna inconsistencies, hauna any responsibility. Ushike hiyo vizuri. Number 4, they are able to ensure that the client staff remain vigilant. Yes, responsibilities, ensuring vigilance on the client's staff. Vigilance on the client's staff. We know this presence of auditors makes the account staff to be very vigilant. Yes, ukisikia auditor next week, hata kuna mtu unaweza pangana na yeye akwambie sasa hapana, sio next week, auditors are coming. Yes, because you want to streamline things. You want to keep things in order. So client staff remain vigilant. Just like the way when Employees around, we act differently. You remain calm, know a lot of social media, know a lot of phone and so on. But when they leave, you want to see the updates. Sometimes we leave the work early. That's the thing that happens when auditors are present. The client staff remain vigilant. Number 5, reporting on the 3 E's. On the 3 E's. 3 E's, ni economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Advising on these 3 things. Economy, here we check on issues of procurement. Tunaangalia issues of procurement and even human resource. We check, is the client able to acquire the most needed items at the least cost possible? Not compromising quality. Getting the best, not compromising quality. Getting the ideal level of employees, ensuring we are not overbloated. We don't have overbloated staff. Again, spending the minimum. That's economy aspect. You advise the client on economical aspects. When do we consider an entity being efficient, or even at personal level? When you spend the minimum to get the maximum, you are efficient. Effectiveness. Are the policies put in place achieving the intended objectives? If yes, they are effective. If no, you need to advise them on how to enhance effectiveness. These are the incidental objectives, which are not required by law, but they are desirable. Number 3, that was number 1, statutory. Number 2, incidental. Then number 3 are professional bodies. Professional bodies. Objective. Professional bodies objective ni hizi zote combined. Writing a report, writing of management letter, advising on 3 E's, of course, a report with our opinion. Yeah. Issues of vigilance. Basically, we're saying ISPAC requires that we audit so that we achieve all these objectives combined. That's what we are saying. Write a report, prepare management letter, advise on the 3 E's, ensure that the client staff remain vigilant, ensure that the client staff remain vigilant, ensure that the client staff remain vigilant. Let's see what Honor and Family are saying. Right. Joshua anaitisha notes za last class. Sawa. All right. Any questions so far? Perfect. A question. On the? 3 E's. Perfect. Economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Kuna mtu amesha photocopy past papers? Assist me with them. Perfect. Tujaribu tukue nazo. Lakini si nitashare kwa hiyo group yetu. Nimeona kuna official group yenye tuko nayo. Huwa napenda tusome hizi vitu as we make reference to the past papers. Ndio unajua kwamba hii story yote when it is examined, how is it phrased? Huwa inaletwa waje kwa mtihani. Although nimezoea tu wenye tumekaa hivi. Yes. Tumekaa hivi sasa hii. Unajua kuna ile tumezoea. Sasa hii ukaambiwa useme ABCD kuanzia nyuma. ZD, why you get issues and issues. So something I want to check for you so that I explain the 3 E's. Sababu najua kuna mahali iko. Kuna mahali iko. Hapo mahali sio mbali sana, nitapata saa hii. Niandikie hapo December 2022 question 4A. December 2022 question 4A. Deck 2022 question 4A. Ilikuwa inasema explain the 3 E's of a value for money audit. 6 marks. 6 marks. 6 marks. So nilikuwa nataka tukuonyesha hiyo swali nimeuliza ni muhimu sana. It's very important. 6 marks is a lot. 6 marks is a lot. Economy, you want to advise the client. There's a way they carry out their business, but you need to advise them on being economical, spending where necessary, and spending the minimum to get maximum out of it. Now you're checking, like procurement. You know, procurement is highly abused even by the government offices. Procurement ni area inafanyikaga wizi wa hali ya juu sana. Wizi ya hali ya juu sana. Kuna jamaa tulikuwa tunafanya naye mahali alikuwa kwa procurement. Yes, juzi nimemuona kwa news. Nimeona kwa news. Yes. Aka jamaa na ni kitambo he was driving. Na that car office was not so busy. Procurement ni mambo bad. Yes. Yes, I've lectured 7 years at NYS Gilgil. I was lecturing catering. I'm a caterer more than an accountant. Yes. So when I'm in the house, I try lots of recipes and see the outcome. So kajamaa alikuwa tu hapo kwa procurement ya ofisi tu hapo ya college tu. Ujuzi amekuwa kwa news. So procurement, so we are checking. Are you buying that which is required? How much are you spending to buy this furniture, this laptop? How much are you spending to acquire stationery? That's the advice we give under the first E, economy. That's what we are auditing. The question is reading value for money. Are you ensuring that the client is getting value for their money? Because in most cases, the prices of at procurement level are exaggerated, and especially where we have conflict of interest. Unanunua furniture na kumbe director moja ni mwenye hiyo furniture, kampuni ya furniture. Unakuta prices are exorbitant, highly exaggerated. That's the economy aspect. Efficiency is a cost-benefit analysis. We assess efficiency by looking at the cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit is how much are you spending to get what? So na ndio huo unakuta kwamba ukikuta client amenunua an item, you check the prevailing market rates. Ona kama ni hivyo. And are you spending the minimum to get maximum out of it? Karibu zicrash na yeye. Lakini sasa hii inaleta mambo ya, is the client getting value for money? That you are going for that which is needed. Is what you're buying needed? Yes, sio tu kununua, kujaza kwa store. Effectiveness ni. For instance, tumesema, do you pay cash here? Ama saa zingine unapeana cash? See, I'm not sure, lakini sidhani. Hiyo kutopeana cash, it's an internal control system ya kuzuia. You know, cash is highly desirable, highly portable. Pesa inapendeza. Ni kweli? Inapendeka. Yes, tunapenda pesa. So, unaona kwamba saa zingine hata mtu anaweza kuwa ameokoka lakini umweke kwa temptation. Si ni kweli? Sababu pesa iko hapo. Na our father inasema, do not lead us into temptation. Sasa pesa imewekwa pale, ndio hiyo January. Although hii January is one of the shortest. Have you realized? It's moving very fast. Last year, like now, we were somewhere in date 43. And we had, all right. So pesa iko pale with all the bills, with all the debts and so on. Somebody may be tempted. Saa zingine hata sio kuiba, ni wacha nilipe hii deni, nikilipwa Edman, nitarudisha. Hiyo nitakufunza inaitwa teaming and leading. Si leo tumesoma window dressing. Kuna kitu inaitwa teaming and leading. Kajina ingine inaitwa carryover fraud. At data anakuja analipa, unaona aje, wacha nitumie hii do, tukilipo Edmonth nitarudisha. Alright. Mwingine analipa, wacha nitumie, na unajua hiyo pesa mtu hapangiagi, sasa unafanya impulse. Because imekuja tu. You do that until editor C pays, then unaona amelipa pesa mingi. Wacha nikirie ya A, then hii extra, na ni weekend saa hii. Yes. Na weekend saa hii. Weekend na kuna baridi. I do some coffee to keep myself warm. So inakuwa hivyo. It's a carryover fraud. Until end of the month you realize you've spent more than your pay. Sasa unaanza kuangalia how to cover up this. By covering up, what started as an irregularity. What is an irregularity? When there is departure from the norm. The norm is, of course, we discourage cash payments. But if a cash payment has been made, it should be intactly and promptly deposited in the company's account. When you fail to do so, that's an irregularity. An irregularity advances to a fraud when you want to conceal it and defraud the organization. So ICS imewekwa kwamba no cash payments. So this discouragement of paying in cash, is it serving the intended purpose? If yes, that control is effective. If still fraud is being perpetuated, mi kuna jamaa mahali alikuwa amecash checks kwanza za CDF is a courage also. Checks zote za CDF hazikuenda kwa akaunti ya shule. How he cashed this sijui, na ni jamaa mpole sana, highly trusted by the management, lakini aliwanyorosha vibaya sana. So ilikuwa internal control system ya kudiscourage cash, but still fraud was perpetuated. So that control was not effective. As an auditor, you're supposed to advise the client on how to enhance effectiveness. Sasa nimeelezea yote. Karibu niongee kwa Kikuyu. Iko sawa? Perfect. Perfect. Any other question? Hii past paper ndio nisisahau. Thank you so very much for this. Jaribu upate hard copy of this, ndio unaenda ukitik jibu na penseli, such you like write something. Zoea kuandika andika. Notes za leo tunazituma. Notes za leo tunazituma in a few. So where was I before this? Before this, these are the objectives. These are the objectives. Si to compare accounting na auditing tuone tofauti. We know what accounting is, nataka kufuta. Kwa sawa? Online family, I'm grabbing this. I hope you've already screenshot. Nimefuta haraka sana because yes, as they screenshot, maybe I can take you. Do you know how many topics we have? Kwa syllabus yetu ni topics 16. 16 topics. Yes?
About statutory objectives.
Kuna swali imetokeleza, then I'll explain about the topics. Yes, when asked about the statutory objectives, yes. These are the sub items. We are always guided by the marks allocated. You know, kuna marks utaona, unajua hawataki story most. If it's 2 marks, unajua ni utaje hii na utaje hii, and maybe you give an example. You see? But if they are doing 6 marks, that tells you need to give some points. Yeah, marks allocated always guides us. Marks allocated always guides us. If it's 2 marks, it's point 1 and point number 2. More than 2 points, you may require to give extra points. But I always say there's no harm in giving more than what is required. Oh, time aspect. Lakini nayo kama umeiva vizuri, ukishaiva time inaendaga vizuri. Time huwa ina flow. Lakini kama hujaiva vizuri, unaona sasa hiyo ndio unajaribu kufikiria. Yes, ushaifungua desktop unasikia inaguruma. Something is searching. Yes. But it's true, marks allocated will always guide us, and especially if the examiner is not telling us to indicate 2 statutory objectives, 4 advantages, 5 objectives, you see. If they leave it open, let's be guided by the marks allocated, but give as much as possible. There's no harm in giving. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the question. So I was saying, as the owner and family was screenshotting the notes, we have 16 topics to cover. And 2 topics out of this. There's a topic with 5 topics inside. The audit evidence topic has got 5 topics inside that will take 2 hours each to discuss. And then there's another topic. Is it auditor's report? Yeah, auditor's report has got other topics inside it. But those other topics, tunaweza maliza moja kila session. You have it here. Si uko na msema kweli hapa. Sasa tuko topic number 1. Yes. Tutamaliza the next class. Assurance, I always cover it in 1 session. Ziko hapa. It's true they are 16. They are 16. They are 16 in number. So topic number 14, it has got other topics inside. Going concern is a topic on its own. Subsequent events is a topic on its own. So here we need like 3 sessions. Computerized auditing is 1 session. The contemporary is 1 session. Public sector is 1 session. Audit evidence has got so many other topics inside. Management representations is 1 topic. Work of an expert, 1 topic. Analytical procedures, 1 topic. Audit sampling, 1 topic. And now these others. Audit evidence, 1 topic. Errors is 1 topic on its own. Forensic audit is 1 topic. Internal audit is 1 topic. Internal controls at haiwezi isha hii. Hiyo tutasoma most important, then I guide you on how to handle these other things. Audit documentation, 1 topic. Audit planning, 1 topic. Risks, 1 topic. Planning, 1 topic. Legal and professional framework, 2 topics. Yeah, iko hivyo. So ni mingi kidogo, 16. But I can assure you we'll cover. See, our topic is auditing and assurance. I can assure you we'll cover everything. What is assurance? What am I doing? Assuring you that all will be covered before I get an assurance from your side that you'll lead everything. What's assurance? To assure someone, to giving some confidence. To assure is to give, to make somebody comfortable. Actually, assurance makes somebody comfortable. To assure, to guarantee. Yeah, to guarantee. I can guarantee you that I'll do everything possible. We cover everything and we get everything right. So usikuwe na wasiwasi. Huwa nasema kwamba wewe ukitaka kujua kama kuna wasiwasi, angalia driver. Unajua kuna wakati gari huwa inainama mpaka unashangaa kama mko safe. Yes. Wewe angalia driver. If the driver panics, there's trouble. But if the driver is not panicking, so pale iko shwari. So wewe ukae ukiniangalia. Yes. Sasa ile nitapanic, ndio utajua kwamba kuna issue. Utajua kuna issue. Whether you can get a copy of that. Tutapata haijawekwa kwa group, I'll check. Lazima ikuwe imewekwa kwa group. Sawa. So after this, we look at, we try to compare accounting and auditing. Yes, if you're comparing accounting and auditing here, that now we've already discussed what is auditing, the objectives of auditing. We can tell that number 1, this one precedes. Hii ndio inatangulia. Huwezi audit kama hakuna hizi vitabu. So precedes, then this one follows. This involves preparation of accounting records. This involves examination. Here, we prepare guided by international accounting standards. Si hapa leo tumesoma ISAs kadhaa. International Standards of Audits. Hapa we are guided by IASs. Hii nayo, it is a continuous exercise. Si hata leo vile ulikuwa kwa ofisi, you did some accounting. But auditor anakujaga periodical. Kuna auditors wanangojaga tu mwisho wa mwaka. So it's periodical. This one may be performed by competent accountants. Me and you, we are competent. But for auditing, it has to be qualified competent accountants. So competent, but it is on qualified competent accountants. Number 6, may be performed by an internal person. Will that make sense? Because even here we have internal audit. Siriona kuna mari niliandika internal auditor. So we have internal audit and external audit. Internal auditor and external auditor. Internal auditor is an employee of the client, analipo mshahara. But external auditor is an independent contractor. Ulisoma independent contractor. Kwa sheria is an independent contractor and is paid audit fee. He is not salaried. Salaried. So here we can talk of it can take different forms, like management accounting. We're discussing accounting or financial accounting, or even cost accounting. Nayo hii kulingana vile ulifunzwa na one Mr. Peter, different levels of assurance. Different levels of assurance. Tutasoma baadaye. I'll remind you about it. So could either be reasonable assurance, or even limited assurance, or even limited assurance. So different, I'm tempted to say performed by an internal person. By an internal. Unajua kwa nini nilikuwa hesitant? Ni sababu kuna entities hawana accountant. What they do, they outsource. And that's why I was reluctant or hesitant to indicate it here, but it makes sense. By an internal employee. Hii nayo sasa nitaweka zote mbili. May be performed by an internal auditor or external. We could be having other differences, but those are the main ones. Those are the main ones. So kuna hiyo mlikutana na Mr. Peter. I can't recall the date. So, Gina, phone number, you sign last class in this class. Thank you. So just need 1 minute to top up some ink. Then we come, proceed. We come to Mariza, what the grace. Until we do the grace classes, somebody was asking whether is the class over. Bad early, but still in progress. So these are the differences between accounting and auditing. So we need to look at another subtopic. I need to check what we'll be able to create. We can discuss. Let me discuss evolution of audit. Oh, this one is in topic number 1. No, it's in topic number 1, yes. Evolution. Is it of audit or in audit English? Audit has evolved over time. Yes, audit has evolved over time. Actually, hapa wacha ni tabulate. Although in my notes that I'll give you, it's not tabulated, but we need to know what was happening in early audit and what is happening in modern or contemporary audit. In early audit, we carried out vouching audit. But here in modern audit, we talk of risk-based audit. I'll explain. This is a topic on its own. But what's a voucher? If you're asked what a voucher is, najua ni ile unasainiki ukipatia pesa. But in auditing, we say a voucher is a document evidencing a transaction. So logbook is a voucher. Invoice is a voucher. Title deed is a voucher. So vouching audit, we used to check everything. That's vouching audit. But risk-based audit, actually huwa inaitwa top-down audit approach. Ati kwanza hatuangalii vitabu, tunaangalia what are the risks that the client is exposed to. Then we narrow down to the financial statements. Ukishajua the risks that the client is exposed to, you are able to identify the high risk areas and the low risk areas, so that you are able to concentrate most on high risk areas and you concentrate rest on low risk areas. So high risk, low risk ni, what are the areas which are highly likely to experience fraud, and that which are not highly susceptible to fraud. So it's a very efficient type of audit. So in early audit, watching audit. Modern, risk-based audit. Number two, early audit was manual. Early audit was manual. Sababu hakukuwa na stori za computerized. Kompyuta zilikuja lini? Sikumbuki, si kompyuta zinakuwa na history mrefu. Lakini hata Google, si Google imekuja juzi? I believe Google came after 2000. Ndio watu walianza kuitumia. Chunguza hizo maneno. Because like phones, when did we have phones for the first time in Kenya? These mobile phones. Around 1998. 98 kulikuwa na phones, eh? Very few people. Airtel. The Celtel. Niliona simu 2000 mimi. Yes, mwalimu wetu wa Campanello, then I was in section 4. Mwalimu wetu wa Campanello alikuwa anaongea, hatukuwa tunaelewa what he was doing. Anaongea na simu. We didn't know what was happening. Like 2000, so maybe 98 zilikuweko. So in contemporary audit, sini computerized. Tutasoma kitu inaitwa CATS, computerized aided audit techniques. It's a topic. It's a topic. So bora tujue hapa sasa ni computerized. Computerized. Alafu number three kulikuwa na story ya auditors were looking for errors and fraud. Wacha hivyo leo tumeita ni incidental. Kitambo it was a primary thing to do. So looking for or checking for errors and frauds. Lakini sasa hii tumeongea nayo tukasema today is just an incidental objective. Kitambo auditors were only answerable to owners. Answerable to owners. Saizi wako na kitu inaitwa extended liability. Sijui kama kwa law 2007 Ahmed Siad, what happened in 07? Is it Google? Is it computer? Is it what? Kindly clarify. Ni muhimu. This information is important. Ahmed, clarify for us what happened in 07. Yes, tujue 07 kulifanyika namna gani. 07 2nd of February, I opened my college in western part of Kenya. Mahali panaitwa Shamahoa. Who comes from Shamahoa? Yes, 07, I had a very big college in western part of Kenya. If it were not for the post-election violence that December. So I had to move very fast. Extended liability ni kwamba even persons who are not privy to the contract can sue the auditor. Kwa law, did you read about Donoghue versus Stevenson? Mshaikutana kesi kama hiyo? Donoghue versus Stevenson, I believe it's 1927. Mtu alifanya masters ya law. Masters ya law ni kushikwa mara mingi. Inaitwa masters. Unajua ukishikwa mara kadhaa unashikaga vitu mingi cha lazima. Yes. Hii ilikuwa, there's a guy who took his girlfriend for an outing, then they were taking drinks from opaque bottles. Una kesi kama ushaisikia? Yes? Acha niendelee ni uniambie kama ushaisikia. Then when this lady was almost through with her drink, ni kama umekumbuka hiyo kesi? My friend there amekumbuka hiyo case. Juu najua lazima imesomwa kwa tot. When she was almost done with her drink, anaweza isema sababu sapa iko mbali, there are people who may bracken their heart. She noticed remains of a decomposing snail. When she was almost done with her drink, then they sued the manufacturer of this product. And they succeeded. They were compensated. Because the House of Lords then ruled that a manufacturer of a product owes a duty of care. A manufacturer of a product owes a duty of care to the general public, owes a duty of care to any person who may be aggrieved because of one reason or the other. Na ni hivyo hata hii kazi yetu ya auditing. An auditor owes a duty of care to the general public. Sio tu shareholders, owners, general public. Any person who may rely on your professionalism and they suffer quantifiable financial loss can successfully seek legal redress. Sasa ni hivyo iko. Hapa tu ni owners wangekushtaki wangepata hasara. Lakini hapa auditors operate in highly litigious environment. Unaweza shtukia umeshtakiwa right, left, center by persons who you didn't even know. If they relied on your report, for instance, audit prospectus. What is a prospectus? A prospectus is I know you know this. What's a prospectus? Somebody saying a prospectus is a brochure? Kind of. Brochure, kind of. Tulisema tunajibu kila swali, si ni kweli? Kwa exam, if you can't convince them, confuse them. Yes. Usikubali, andika. Yes. If you can't convince them, confuse them. Write something. Write something. Show them you are serious. Show them you want to pass. Yes. Ni kuna story ingine ilifanyika mahali. Lion akashika toto isa akamwambia sasa leo lazima ukufe sasa. Yes. Sasa naye toto isa kaona hana nafasi ya kupotea. Ushaishikwa na kasnebu huna nafasi. Sasa umepatikana na kimekupata imekuramba, ndio hiyo wameleta vitu huelewi. Unajua tu hii hata wengine wakigoja resort hugoji. Yes. So toto isa aliambia Lion usiniue kwanza. Give me 5 minutes. So toto isa akakanyanga hapo vile sasa kunanyesha. Akakanyanga kukaa kumekanyangwa kabisa. So Lion asked the tortoise, ulikuwa unafanya nini those 5 minutes? So akasema nilikuwa nataka hata wenye watakuja hapa wakute umeniua wajue si kusimama tu ukaniua. Tulingangana. Sababu kumekanyangwa kabisa. So hata kwa kasne usikubali tu ati nimeshikwa. Pana. If you can't convince them, confuse them. Write something in English. Write something in English. Yes, it's true. Sometimes they say, especially kwa calculation, hiyo swali tuliseti vibaya. Give free marks for anyone who has attempted. Now you can imagine free marks mtu akipoteza. Huyo star yake ni shida. Because how can you lose free marks? So I will say, make sure you answer all the questions. If you can't convince them, confuse them. Sasa nilikuwa nasema aje before your story? Prospectus. Yeah, what is it? We have a random friend here who wants to try. Perfect. Thanks. That's very correct. Umejua the words I wanted to use. I wanted to use the exact words because the general public say it's a document used to advertise shares, which is correct. Lakini wewe sababu ni mwanasheria, ushasoma difference between offer acceptance and invitation to treat. You know that a prospectus is a document used as an invitation to treat to the general public to subscribe to the shares of an entity. So inakuwa hivyo, it's in form of a brochure. It's in form of a brochure, but in legal terms, invitation to treat. So audit prospectus. Mtu ameinvest kwa shares za kampuni on the strength of the prospectus that you audited. Alafu it turns out to be that the entity was a loss-making venture and not as you portrayed it in your report. They can sue you as an auditor. Kwamba you misread us. You gave a clean report. You indicated this entity to be a profit-making venture when it is not. That's why I'm saying auditors operate in highly litigious environment, and as such, they have extended liability. Anyone out there suffering loss because of relying on your professionalism may successfully seek legal redress. Number 10, we say, what's remaining? Watching audit risk-based, manual, computerized. Errors and frauds, incident. Perfect. Because of this exercise of watching audit, auditors were reporting on truth and correctness. Truth and correctness of financial statements. Auditors could report on truth and correctness because watching, you're testing everything. Ni kama census yenye huwa inafanyika Kenya. Kila mtu anahesabiwa. Tunaambia watu ni hawa. Hiyo ndio inaitwa voting, testing everything. So they are able to report whether the financial statements are correct or not. But in contemporary audit, because of sampling, we can't get close to reporting on correctness. We only form opinion on truth and fairness of the financial statements. Ya mwisho sasa basi, saa hizi tuko na concepts mbili zinaitwa stewardship concept. Hiyo nishaelezea leo. Stewardship concept and corporate governance. Are new concepts in modern audit, which were not there in the early audit. Stewardship concept and corporate governance. Corporate governance discusses the best practices. Hapa kwa hii corporate governance tutasoma internal audit na audit committee. In early audit, they never used to be there. They never used to be there. So you see, hii swali nayo imeulizwa mara kadhaa. Kindly get it right today. So when we meet in the next class, documents used to invite public to subscribe. We had Nasil, we had already tried to answer it here. It's very correct. It's very, very, very correct. There's something I had seen here. So we are creating this topic on when? On Tuesday. Sorry, I wanted to tell you what's remaining. All right. Yes, topic number 1, we are supposed to discuss nature and objectives of an audit, development of audit, early audit, modern audit, users of audited accounts. Hiyo nilitaja tu, but I'll remind you about it. Distinction between auditing and accounting, features of audits, types and classifications of audit, ndio tutamalizia nayo. Na ndio hiyo iko pale chini, continuation. Situations where different audits are performed, interim, continuous, final, hiyo tutaisoma kwa types of audits. Advantages, disadvantages of audits, nature and work done for different audits, and inherent limitations. So the next class topic 1 will be done. Yes, I like being guided by this to make sure that everything is covered. Sababu kupita inaanzaga hivyo. Ukishajua syllabus ulimaliza, kuna ile unakuwa kuogopi sasa. Passing is a process. Ukijua syllabus imeisha, hata unaenda na confidence. So passing inaanzaga hapa. Alafu of course preparation and such. Hii sina la ziada unless you have a question. Namba yangu iko hapa 07019778. But I believe kila mtu ako kwa group. Hakuna mtu atanitumia WhatsApp aniambie hayuko kwa group, because I'll share notes. Anyone with the notes can help, please. This number. Kalen, talk to me. Chat with this number. I'll share some other notes. Zile zote za KCE za audit nitatuma hapo. So Kalen, usiandike story mingi. Ukinisha andika tu AA. Ukiandika AA nitajua ni ukiandika AA najua ni hii class yetu. Sasa na mimi sinasukuma hizo notes hapo. Andika tu AA, then I'll be able to yes. Story mingi ni kwa M-Pesa. Yes. So kama hauko sure hii namba ni yangu, said something, itasoma Clement Kenothia, then you are sure it's me, then we can yes, iko sawa. So be sure that I'll be sharing some notes today. What do you think about topic number 1? I always share after I'm through with the topic. Unaonaje? Unajua kama ungekuwa na hizi notes, nilijaribu siku nyingine kufunza early morning advanced audit na notes, although niliwatumia kimakosa. Hiyo class hawakusoma. Ni kuangalia tu kama nasema kila kitu. Mpaka nikawahurumia. Sasa utaniangalia aje kama nasema kila kitu? Sasa nikiskip kitu unaona ameniangalia. Unajua hapo sasa anaona nani ameskip hii. Yes, that's why me I share after the topic. Sijui wewe unaona aje. Because kama sasa hivi unajua umeconcentrate, eh? Yes, you're able to concentrate. Naona wengine they are taking some notes. You are taking some photos, but be sure I'm giving all this. Siniwape after the Tuesday class. Takuja ni discuss, tunapeana examples, then I have them in soft. I have scanned note, PDF notes. You'll be spoiled of notes. So usikuwe na wasiwasi. Usikuwe na wasiwasi. Usikuwe na wasiwasi. Otherwise, thank you so very much for choosing KCE. You're in safe hands. You are in safe hands. Any question, any suggestion? All right, let's say the grace. Now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit with us now and forevermore. Amen. Blessed evening. Be safe. Kesho tukimbie kanisani. Tane